morning. So my run today is taking me up the hills to Buchenwald. Right now I'm sitting at the memorial. That was a hard climb coming up here. It's just a beautiful day, looking out over my city and seeing everything. I was thinking with this place, it's interesting. What happened here? At Buchenwald, 240,000 people were held at this camp. It wasn't a death camp, but it's estimated that 43,000 people died here. And this memorial is to stand for our city to remind us that what happens when evil can take hold and take place. But it's interesting. We teach people to be principled, have your sense of right and wrong and follow it, be consistent with yourself, be true to yourself. But when taken to the extreme, this is what happens. Hitler was a very principled person. He did what he thought was right. He did what he thought was good. And this is where it brought him. Countless millions of people dead, people displaced, homes broken, because someone was principled in following what they thought was right. Stalin, same thing. Very principled, I have my ideas, I have my ideology, and I'm going to follow it. Well, our culture teaches, well, that's just intolerance. We want to teach being tolerant to people, but at the sake of being intolerant to people who are not tolerant. As a Christian, it's always the fear of, do I speak up and say the wrong thing? Will people hate me for it? To a certain degree, yeah. As a Christian, we're told to follow God, to obey Him. But people's mantras, do what is right. Do follow your heart. In the book of Judges, it talks about that over and over. It keeps saying, and everyone did what was right in his or her own eyes. They did what they thought was right. They did what they thought was good. And the book of Judges just shows... Oh, look at that. It's 8 o'clock right now. And this is what happens. People do what's right, and then just lots of hurt comes. So nowadays people say do what's right, they'll be kind to people. It's based on Christian values, Christian ideology. It's wanting the kingdom without the king, wanting to follow the ways of Christianity without submitting to the king. Last night I was telling a bedtime story to my boys about a kingdom where it's perfect, a kingdom where it's wonderful, a kingdom, a castle where everyone was happy and everyone was sharing. And there was one rule: don't leave the castle. And there was a door. People were free to leave. People were free to go. And then a stranger came in and started telling people, why does the king not want you to leave? Why does he not want you to go out there? There's so much more excitement and adventure out there. There's so many things to be discovered, to experience. And people started doubting the king and started doubting his wisdom. And people started following the king, but once they stepped out of the castle, they couldn't find their way back. They couldn't find their way back to the king. And spiritually, when we rebel against God, we lose sight of the king. We can't see him anymore because of our spiritual darkness, spiritual death. And that's where we need Jesus, to bring us back from the dead, bring us back from the spiritual darkness, to be able to open our eyes, to be able to see the things of the world. The Bible teaches us that those who are not of Christ, those who are spiritually dark, don't understand these things. And comments I get, people just laughing, going, that's so funny. It's just they don't understand it. They don't get what's going on, what's at stake, what's happening. There's so much more to this world than the world sees. People only want to believe what they can see with their eyes and feel with their hands and what feels right. Just because something feels right doesn't mean it is right. There needs to be a standard. There needs to be a sense of where is that foundation. We build all these houses of good and evil on sand if there is no firm belief. Why should I be kind to my neighbors? Why should I help other people? Why should I just look after myself? Students ask. Without Christ, the answer is, well, just because you should. That's the way society works. Well, sometimes societies don't work that way. I mean, here in Germany, Hitler got control. He took power, and people said, why didn't he speak up? Why didn't people speak up? Because they were afraid. Those who did speak up were killed, were sent to places like Buchenwald. And those who were too afraid to speak up and served in the army and quietly followed the agenda and quietly supported that agenda. So what is right or wrong? What are we basing our truth on, our good on? What makes something good? Or should we is tolerance the perfect good? Well, then ultimately tolerance becomes intolerant of people who don't agree with complete tolerance. I mean, I value people. I think everyone is perfect, is created in the image of God, is loved by God, and God desires to have a relationship with them. Uh, but that doesn't mean what everyone is doing is right. Doesn't mean that what your choices are good or healthy or helpful. And we want to love people. Christ says in the Bible that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but he has come that people may have life and life to the full. That's what he has to offer, life, a godly happiness, eternal happiness. It's not based on a temporal here, now. Let's do what feels good right now and live with the consequences later. Our world is full of broken, sad, depressed people who are trying to just make themselves happy, and it's not working. So I don't know who's going to listen to this video, who's going to hear my ramblings, my thoughts, who's going to laugh at it, who's going to go, wow, that's so good. My prayer is that people who maybe thought one way could start to hear this, and God can start to open your eyes and say, well, there's something more. What is this about Christianity? What is this about the Bible? And start reading it. Read the Bible for yourself. Don't just take what people say about it. Read the Bible. There are a lot of Christians who put things in the Bible that aren't there, or take things out of the Bible that are there. We want to do the Bible. We want to know God and know him well. We can't just dismiss the Bible because it was written by men. C.S. Lewis calls that bulverism. I'm not going to listen to it because I don't like who said it. We want to listen to what holds truth value, what is right, what is wrong. Just because someone says something doesn't mean we dismiss it. We listen because it's true, and we have to measure that and look at that. So my prayer is someone's going to listen to this and go, wow, I want to know more. Find a Bible-believing church. Find Christians who do the Bible, believe the Bible. I'm not going to compromise on the Bible. I don't know. I wasn't planning on doing this today. I was going to run with a friend, but then that got canceled. So I'm up here by myself and just thought I'd stop. And I think this is a fitting place when talking about our world and talking about doing what is right and how do we define right and wrong. Are we going to be principled people without a foundation? And some people are going to take places like this, or we're going to have our truth and our right and wrong based on something bigger than ourselves, more firm than ourselves. Cultures change. Cultures shift. What was right today in a culture is not right tomorrow. What was wrong today might become right tomorrow, and that might not be a good thing. So thank you for listening. Thank you for hearing my ramblings and my thoughts, and I hope you have a wonderful day.